Hello again from Fired Up. I'm your host for the show, Bob Irwin. We're broadcasting from Rigel Studios here in Las Vegas, Nevada. This show is about guns, related political issues, and self-defense. Primarily self-defense on this current show. Fired Up is on our website, firedupwithbobirwin.com, and on the American Guns and Glory Network. It's also separately on YouTube and numerous other media. A new show is posted every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. The audio feed is rebroadcast as a radio show Saturdays at noon on the Nevada Talk Network. You can find the stations at KELY1230.com. There are about 23 or 24 of them around Nevada now, none of which at this moment are in Clark County, unfortunately. Questions or comments, you can send me an email to bob@firedupmail.com, one long word, or bob@firedupmail.com. Or leave a message on my office recorder. That is 702-257-1060. That's 702-257-1060. If you don't leave a message, I can't call you back. Texts or emails sent to me will be responded on kind. Questions directly to our guest will be forwarded. Nothing to that. We've been doing this show now for just over 6 years. Can you believe that?
Yeah, it's great.
6 years on the air. Wow. There are several hundred defensive uses of firearms every week in the United States, depending on who's counting, 300 to 500. Rarely truthfully covered by any mainstream media. We always present a few of those for our listeners' education. Most of the shootings I use are good. Some are questionable. Sometimes they're wrong. But all are educational for those of you who own a firearm, carry one for self-defense, or keep one at home for self-defense. Individual incidents are generally adjudicated under local law. Advice given here might not apply to listeners in different jurisdictions other than where I am in Nevada, or specifically Southern Nevada. Stories are often paraphrased for clarity by me by translating it from police jargon, what I like to call lawyer speak, or regional accents, regional dialects into plain USA English. The incidents are as reported, except the names of the participants, the good guys and bad guys, are usually omitted. My guest today is my favorite Fed. I said it. Lenny Davis. Lenny, a bit of your background, please.
Oh, thanks, Bob. My name's Lenny Davis. I'm a retired special agent of the Department of Homeland Security. I'm also a subject matter expert in the U.S. State Department's Global Anti-Terrorism Assistance Program, and I am currently one of the owners of SRT Special Services here in Las Vegas. We are a security, private investigations, and training firm. And I'm your favorite Fed. Ex-Fed.
Well, you are.
Former Fed.
If you go anywhere in the United States and a lot of foreign countries and say, I'm from Las Vegas, someone will say to you, oh, do you know Lenny? Trust me on this. Try it. If you're listening to this show from Iowa someplace or Southern Florida or you name it, you're going to find that he leaves a lasting impression wherever he goes. Now.
Never indicted.
This, I meant good impression actually, but never indicted?
Never indicted.
This comes from, of all publications, the Chicago Tribune, a reporter named K. Douglas, that's letter K. Douglas, reported February 3rd, 2020, officers were called about 4:30 in the afternoon Friday to an apartment on the 5700 block of West Lake Street in the Austin neighborhood. They found a wounded 37-year-old man. He had been shot once in the leg and once in the chest. The residents of the apartment got into a verbal dispute which turned out to be into a domestic fight that included the man shoving her into the wall. It's a couple living in the same apartment. lady named Sally Brown, a spokesman for the Chicago police, could not say what the couple had the dispute about, but the two were in a domestic relationship. The man was armed with a handgun while the fight was taking place. The 43-year-old woman told police the 37-year-old man said he was going to kill her. Both the man and the woman carried silver .357 revolvers, different manufacturers. I have no idea why that's in the story, but that's what the police said. Chicago police determined the 43-year-old woman had fired the gunshots. The 37-year-old male was later pronounced dead. Officers arrested and questioned her and the woman's younger sister who witnessed the fight and the shootings. Investigators treated the investigation as a first-degree murder case. The spokesman said there is no indication that the man fired his weapon. The 43-year-old woman was released a day later because the state's attorney's office did not file charges. A lady named Tandra Simonton, a spokesman for the state attorney general's office, said, "We conducted a thorough review of the incident after it was brought to us by law enforcement and concluded that the evidence and the facts were insufficient to support filing of criminal charges," she said in a prepared statement. That's good. Even in Chicago, we're getting a guy with a gun threatening to kill you, and you shoot him. The armed male shoves the woman into a wall, back on my outline, and tells her he is going to kill her. That certainly seems to be a valid reason to fire in self-defense, even in Chicago. The woman has a valid state firearms identification card and a state license to carry a concealed weapon. She had some training, apparently knew the rules. I would imagine getting that concealed weapon permit in Chicago involves, I'm sure, substantial expense, but I know it's a lot of hours to do that. And she did good. This is self-defense about anywhere you want to go.
This is a case of self-defense 101. This guy physically throws her against the wall, tells her he's going to kill her. She's in fear of her life. She pulls her own .357 Magnum revolver out and fires twice, striking him probably once in the leg and once in the chest. And he succumbed to those wounds. This is about as cut and dried a self-defense case as you're going to find. Very simple, very straightforward. She was in fear of her life. She had the ability legally to carry a firearm, and she used it for what it was intended to do, to defend her own life. Perfect case.
And from the court perspective, the saving grace in this case is the younger sister witnessing the fight and the shooting. Imagine how different this would be if there were no witnesses and the police arrived.
Well,
dead.
there would be a lot of, it helps a lot, obviously, to interview a witness, but I mean, in a close exchange gunfight, which I'm assuming this was,
yes.
I mean, he pushes her up against the wall and she pulls her weapon and fires. There's going to be forensic evidence that they could, piece together and put it together.
She clearly shows the battering and so forth and so on, and the scuff marks and all that stuff were used to confirm the sister's story, I'm sure, because we'd expect the sister to defend the woman. But that's that makes it a lot easier on the forensic guys. They have an idea what happened, and they can look through and see if the scuff marks and bloodstains match. I've worked a few cases where they suddenly didn't, and then we go, aha, why are we lying? We're going to break here for a brief word from some of our friends and associates. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Freestyle Martial Arts, located at Jones and Russell here in Las Vegas. You can reach them at 702-551-9009. That's 702-551-9009. CCS Gunsmithing. Chris Eifelt, the man who does all the NRA help, he's at 2216 South Rainbow Boulevard near Sahara. He can be reached at 702-365-1732. Once again, 702-365-1732. Jerry Creed, a trust attorney. If you have a firearms trust or need one, this is your guy. You can reach Jerry at 702-806-7777. That is 702-806-7777. CCW Maggie is found all over the internet. You can reach her by phone at 702-375-5900. That's 702-375-5900. All sorts of firearms training, ladies only classes. She is the best of the best. Call CCW Maggie. This story comes to us from WAVE, W-A-V-E TV 3 in Clay County, Kentucky. This is according to the Clay County Sheriff's Office. Police responded to a home around 8 p.m. Sunday night on Paces Creek Road. A 34-year-old was subsequently arrested on charges of burglary and public intoxication. Media reported that the homeowners called the police to report they were having a suspect at gunpoint, holding a suspect at gunpoint, while having, after catching him on their property, burglarizing their outbuilding. The homeowners continued to hold the individual at gunpoint until officers arrived. The sheriff's office said the suspect showed signs of intoxication and later admitted he was taking meth. He was booked into the Clay County Detention Center. His next court date has not yet been assigned, as this just happened. This is clearly justified use of force in Clay County, Kentucky, because the DA's office has said it's going to go as no charges filed. So we know under their rules it's okay. They respect your right to defend properties. Listeners should be aware that many jurisdictions would not agree with this. First, the attempt to break into an outbuilding, where the attempted intrusion is not part of your actual living space. There can be a problem using a threat of deadly force. The deadly force, Lenny, is pointing your firearm at somebody.
Certainly.
That is a deadly threat. So, you want to pick it up here?
Well, and I got a couple of opinions of that. Yes, in some places that would be a bad problem, but I guarantee you, I have an outbuilding on my property, and if I hear somebody in my outbuilding, I'm going to go and investigate that. Now, if that individual at that point threatens me, then I'm in fear of my life. Again, that's here under Nevada law. One of the things that I do want to point out on this is if you do hold somebody at gunpoint waiting for the police, don't try to have contact with them. You know, if they get up and they leave, they get up and they leave. If they try to come towards you, then you can use deadly force. But don't try to take this person into custody. Don't try to sit on their back, or if you have a set of handcuffs at home, try to handcuff this individual or tie him up or anything. That's only in, the movies. And usually when police officers do that, they're very well trained and they have the ability to do that. The thing that bothers me about this individual is he later admitted that he was on meth. Methamphetamine makes people incredibly paranoid and sometimes incredibly strong. So you do not want to get over there and have actual physical contact with this individual. If you're going to take them into, and detain them at that point, point the weapon at them, tell them not to move, get their hands away from their body, look away from you and don't move. If they decide to get up and they're not coming at you, you can't use deadly force to detain them. Let them run away. The threat's gone. So those are kind of things you want to take a look at.
Now, what I was pointing out in the outbuilding thing is a lot of states have a limitation to the fact that there is an invasion of your residence. And the outbuilding is not, apparently from the story, part of where their residence. If they live in the garage, that would be part of the residence. If they don't, then it's not. And why are you using deadly force to deter somebody from a property crime? Why don't you just stay where you were and call the police, which can be argued in this case. But the outbuilding is an interesting issue depending on where you are. If we take it to the other extreme, and this is in New York City or San Francisco, California.
You're going to get arrested for having a gun.
Yeah, if you have a permit to have your gun, they're going to consider that an assault with a deadly weapon, because there's nothing in the story that says the guy made a personal threat. And when Lenny was talking about his house, and the guy, he said in his story, if he finds the guy and the guy threatens him, that's a different story. Obviously, you can defend yourself from a physical threat. This guy apparently is just a drunk trying to go into the wrong house, from what we know. And what I want to make listeners aware of, depending on where you are, almost any place in California, this would be at least a crime of some sort. I don't expect there'd be any problem with a civil lawsuit because the individual wasn't harmed.
Right.
In the other story we were talking about last week, where the guy was actually shot, then we have, now I'm injured, my arm doesn't work, and my pinky hurts, and whatever it is. Anyway, this is going to go on and on, these things, but I get into this sometimes and forget to mention it during the show. Every shooting is unique. What happened to you is unique, absolutely. There have never been two that are exactly the same. Same height, weight, different distance, different laws, are they relatives, different circumstances, day or night, how big is the 15-year-old, et cetera, et cetera. That's why they have attorneys to argue these things back and forth, because you look at the law and it doesn't have enough details. It's too much stuff. Anyway, we're going to pause here for a brief word from our friends and associates. You'll like this next story. Don't go away. Attorney Donald J. Green, a common guest of mine on Fired Up. He can be reached at 702-409-8239. He specializes in gun case litigation. He is your man, Don Green, 702-409-8239. At Ricardo's Restaurant, where you'll usually find me eating lunch every day if I can get there, they're at the corner of Flamingo and Decatur here in Las Vegas. You can reach them at 702-227-9100. That's 702-227-9100. And Battlefield Vegas, my new kind of home for this show. They're on Circus Drive, directly behind the Circus Hotel and Casino. You can find them there with CCW classes and an amazing place for gun rentals, everything you could possibly imagine. Check out, if you're in town as a tourist, check out battlefieldvegas.com. And we are back. This is my favorite story of the week. This is from WTVF TV News 5, reported on February 4th this year, 2020, in Nashville, Tennessee. An incident happened around 8:30 a.m. Monday on Rainwood Drive near Madison. That's the cross street. 25-year-old individual and his girlfriend had tracked their car to the address after it had been stolen a week earlier. They activated the low jack or whatever was in the car a week after it was stolen, and they went and found the car. They found two people in the car, both of whom appeared to be teens. The male half used his car to block in the other to keep the driver from leaving. Metro Nashville Police Department said a 15-year-old was shot after the man found him in his girlfriend's car. He blocked him in and then he shot at him. The teen driver tried to drive away and hit the shooter's car and another vehicle. The 25-year-old shot at the car several times, hitting the teen in the arm. The other suspect ran away, apparently on foot, and has not been located as of this report. The 25-year-old then drove the teen to TriStar Skyline Medical Center in a non-life-threatening injury. Police said the shooter's vehicle, the shooter, and the juvenile were all detained at the hospital for further investigation. A neighbor, your neighbors are always friendly when you get involved in a shooting and have to talk to the media. A neighbor recalled, I heard 4 or 5 gunshots, and they were loud and they echoed in the house. It sounded like you were in a downtown 4th of July watching fireworks. Can you imagine that testimony in court? The neighbor coming in and saying that? That makes it sound really great. Some neighbors told media the 25-year-old's actions went too far. No kidding. They believed he should have called the police instead. He was charged with felony aggravated assault for firing shots through the windows at the teen. Quickly, the neighbors have it right. Tracking down the perps who stole your car is just stupid. You call 911 and let the cops handle it. This young man is looking at serious jail time, and I suspect a huge lawsuit. What do you think, Mr. Davis?
This is pretty cut and dry. You're an idiot if you find your car fine. 911. Hey, I reported my car stolen a week ago. It's here at the 123 Main Street in the driveway, and could you get an officer to come over here and recover my car? Blocking that person in with your car, they don't know who you are. And the person that might be driving that car may not know it's stolen. The person who actually stole that car might have loaned it. Oh yeah, I got a new car. You want to borrow it? Sure. Yeah. It's happened before. And now this guy gets into a gun, he starts firing at this guy when this person backs up. Now, we don't know if this is the guy who stole, this teenager was the one that stole the car. He might have very well been. But again, he may not have been. So this was really a dumb play on this guy's part. The cars now, a couple of cars are damaged. He's going to go to, he's got all sorts of legal problems. Teenagers wounded. It was just a bad shooting and a bad way to handle this. If this comes up, call the police. Tell them, hey, I'm the one that reported this car stolen a week ago. I've located it. I am watching the car. Please send an officer here immediately. And when you have I know police departments, unless they're in the middle of some sort of mass shooting catastrophe or something like that, they are going to send a police officer immediately to a reported stolen, about to be occupied stolen. So there was no need for this. This should have been a phone call and sit and wait. So I'm sorry, this was a bad shoot in my opinion.
And if you were this guy's firearms instructor, if he had training, guess who's going to get called into court for failure to train properly? I'm pretty sure he didn't have any training or this wouldn't have happened, but this is like the story of the week. I tell you, it's absolutely amazing that somebody would do that and not. You can use your gun to defend yourself. If there's time to let the professionals do it, I spent a week in Nashville at a convention years ago. There's cops everywhere. Lots of tourists. It's like a little miniature Las Vegas with Minnie Pearl, you know. It's, anyway, no excuse. Let the cops handle it if you at all possibly can do that. Get on the phone, get the cops on the way before the shots are fired if you still have to shoot, but get them on the way. He who calls the cops first gets the benefit of the doubt in most cases. You can check out our recent shows at firedupwithboberwin.com. It contains dozens of recent episodes, 20 or 30 of them now. Please stop by and patronize our friends and supporters. We'll be back next Thursday on our website, firedupwithboberwin.com, on YouTube at the American Guns and Glory Network, and numerous other media websites and TV stations. When you're watching on any media, just click the word subscribe, and new shows will be sent to your computer or your phone automatically. Please forward these broadcasts to your friends. Our logo merchandise, hats, shirts, and my books are available at Battlefield Vegas. It's just behind Circus Circus on the Las Vegas Strip. Remember, the audio portion is repeated on the Nevada Talk Network all across Nevada, Saturdays at noon. Check out KELY1230.com for the station that is the repeater that's nearest your area. Thanks for watching Fired Up. Lenny, thank you for coming in. It was great.
Good to be here.
And I'll see you again. You going to make it by the gun shows this week?
I'm going to try.
Well, that would be nice.
Come by and see you.
All right. Thank you all for listening to Fired Up. You have a great week.